Good evening, everyone, and welcome back to Paranormal Ripples. I'm your host, Ray, and welcome back to the Silver Screen Facade. This is episode 3. Today we're going to be diving into the mysteries and the mysterious deaths of two Hollywood stars who died in their prime, basically. George Reeves, who was a star of the 1950s Superman series, and Thelma Todd. These two figures have left mark in Hollywood history because there's unanswered questions and conspiracy theories surrounding their deaths. George Reeves was found dead in his home under puzzling circumstances. Was it suicide, or was like the official autopsy revealed, or was there something more sinister at work there? And Thelma Todd was a beloved actress and businesswoman whose life was cut short tragically. And so is there how can I put it, foul play involved, as they would say in Hollywood, in these programs and everything? So this is another dark side of Hollywood story, which we're going to be looking at. So if you like what I'm going to be talking about, hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already. I'd appreciate it if you came on board and became part of my community going forward. And yeah, let's explore these mysterious deaths in Tinseltown, shall we? So, I've got to show you this first. Boom. This is Thelma Todd, star of the 30s in the 20s and 30s of Hollywood. There you go. And she was found on the morning of Monday, the 16th of December, 1935. The body of a young woman was found doubled over on the front seat of a chocolate brown 1934 Lincoln Phaeton convertible parked in a garage in Pacific Palisades. Wearing diamond jewelry and dressed in a mauve and silver evening gown and a mink coat, she had seemingly died of carbon monoxide poisoning. The skin on her face was red with coagulated blood because she had struck her head on the steering wheel of her car as she died. As you know, Hollywood. Me and Scott in the previous cast of this, on the previous show of this, we were talking about Hollywood, like with like some of these like celebrities who have got away and have been like able to get away. So yeah, talk about Facade, Buckle. There was a couple of others, and like Christian Slater, I think. But yeah, like I said, watch what I've put out anyway. But yeah, this is one of the ones that in the this is like golden age of Hollywood, because this was when they were like churning out films and they were starting to advance. Thelma Todd, obviously. There you go. Look, she was in a film every you look. And her last film was in a Stan Laurel and Oliver Hardy called The Bohemian Girl. And if you don't ain't familiar with Laurel and Hardy, they were from our side of the pond, but they made it big over in America. Look, but well, Laurel was, but Hardy, look, he was born in Harlem, Georgia. Look, which is nuts. Well, yeah, Stan Laurel was like from over here. Look, but yeah, Her last film came with them two, where she played the Gypsy Girl's daughter, Gypsy Queen's daughter in this film. It was released February 14th, 1936. There you go. I've seen it of Art of a Gypsy. Don't get me wrong, I like Laura and Hardy. So I remember seeing this film. I remember like vaguely when I was younger. So, but yeah, look, just crazy. Like this was her last film. Look, and it's banned in Malaysia and Germany. See, at the time. Crazy. So yeah, that's what it says. Film with Todd. Look, I was gonna say, born in Lawrence, Massachusetts. She was 29 when she passed. Look, a couple of years prior, look, a year prior, she had just got a divorce from Pascal Des, Pascal what? Desiku. Desical. Desiku. Desiku. He was a cousin of Albert Broccoli, look, who was an American guy who brought James Bond to screens, look. Producer of James Bond films, look. So that's a bit funny, isn't it? Richard and Corsair, look. Yeah. Yeah, ties to the mob apparently. This Pat guy, Bob Pascal. Um, yeah. And then all the time, look, the relationship was volatile and he was abusive to her. So she resulted in her filing for divorce and changing her will to leave him only $1. Was that a reason why he went out? Why she ended up like passed? Crazy. It is crazy that, you know. Well, anyways, look, see, she was found more than a day after she died by her maid. The garage where her car was parked belonged to the house of her on and off lover, director Roland West. So she had already left. She had moved on from Pat and gone to roll with Roland, and he was an on and off love affair by the looks of it. And it was located on a hilltop just above her own home. West's estranged wife, silent movie star Jewel Carmen, was living there at the time. West and Carmen were also Todd's business partners, and they had established a restaurant in a Spanish-style building called the Thelma Todd Sidewalk Cafe, then known as the Roosevelt Highway, but it's Pacific Coast Highway now. And you just seen the picture of that on the wiki, but here it is. No, there you go. Look how crazy that is. You know. I'll be right back, everyone. Just need to go to the toilet. I'm back, everyone. Sorry about that. But yeah, this is the Sidewalk Cafe at Velma Todd, Roland West, and Jill Carmen were in business with each other with. So yeah, let's see if I can get a cleaner picture for you guys. There you go. So keep that in mind. Right. So yeah, here you go. Todd and West both lived on the second floor in adjoining apartments, separated by a sliding door, with an adjacent private nightclub called Joyers, where they would throw frequent parties. So yeah, parties, Hollywood. See, sorry about that, guys. Just a burp. Um, but yeah, so there was a nightclub where they would throw frequent parties, and then on the hexagonal third floor were a ballroom and bandstand. But how Todd died is still one of the enduring mysteries of Hollywood. Her death created a frenzy in the media with daily headlines throughout the police investigation. Some facts were attested to by witnesses, but a lot of this story is still of the story is still unknown. The gaps filled in with conspiracy theories and conjecture. But this is according to the police records at the time. If you see there, according to the police records, Todd had gone to the or Trocadero nightclub on Sunset Boulevard, the famous Sunset Boulevard, on Saturday night for a party hosted in her honor by Ida Lupino and her father Stanley, or Ida Lupino, the evening before she died. Other guests that were there were theatre impresario Sid Grolman, choreographer Arthur Prince, and agent Al Kaufman. Apparently, though, there was an altercation over there with her ex-husband Pat, but she was still in good spirits and was dropped off at her home by her chauffeur just before 4 in the morning. The chauffeur, though, has also testified that he dropped her off at the foot of the stairs on Pacific Coast Highway that led up to her apartment. Obviously, Pacific Coast Highway, where the cafe is. And the theory now goes is that Todd found that she was locked out of her home and decided to climb the 270 stairs up the hill to access the garage where the chauffeur parked her car and spend the night sheltering in it. She turned on the ignition of the car to stay warm, forgetting the dangers of carbon monoxide poisoning, possibly because she was intoxicated or inebriated, whatever one you want to use, as well as. But that theory was never accepted for several reasons. And still to this day, the popular belief is that she was murdered, possibly by the unsavory characters she had associated with. Or was it old ex-husband who had ties, you know? Anyways, the police rushed to judgment, at first calling her death a suicide, but an obituary in the Los Angeles Times of December 17, 1935, the day after, mentioned that Todd was being extorted for $10,000. And that it would be. In 1935, yeah. It would be worth about 229 grand. So think about that. She was getting extorted for the equivalent of 229 grand in today's money. Yeah. But yeah, she was again extorted 10 grand at the time for under penalty of death, and 2 people were then arrested in New York in connection with the crime. Also, more than 100 gift wrapped Christmas presents were found in her apartment, hiding the actions of a suicidal person. She was also due on the set of a movie she was working on the day she was found. The cause was changed to an accidental death, a decision agreed to by the grand jury. The autopsy said she had died of carbon monoxide poisoning and that she had alcohol in her bloodstream, which obviously is true because she was out partying. She also had throat damage, and that could have been caused by the forcing of her holes into her mouth, as well as a broken nose and 2 cracked ribs. But there were still things that couldn't be explained. While the ignition was on in the car when Todd's body was found, there was still fuel in the tank, which should have been drained by the time she was found. One friend, a Mrs. Wallace Ford, told the police that Todd had called her on Sunday, hours after she was dead, according to the coroner, to accept her invitation to a party. Carmen also stated to the grand jury that she saw Todd driving her car with a strange man on Sunday. She avoided being cross-examined on the witness stand by feigning a fainting fit. That's funny, isn't it? And also, according to the LA Times, Todd's mother told police that Todd had a weak heart, so it was unlikely that she would have climbed the 220 steps up a very steep hill to get to her car. Her shoes also did not show any signs of rough climbing either. The actress that was dubbed Ot Toddy, an ice cream blonde, was born in Lawrence, Massachusetts, and was training to be a teacher at the time. But she had bigger dreams and entered beauty pageants. And she was discovered by Hollywood talent scout at the Massachusetts pageant that she had won. And she enrolled in the Astoria Paramount Players School in Queens, Astoria, Queens, New York. And she got a break in 19. Look, she moved to Hollywood at 19. And yeah, she would make 120 films in just 10 short years. There you go. She worked in numerous Laurel and Hardy shorts. There you go. Buster Keaton. She went into dramas. Look. For that movie, she changed her name to Alison Lloyd, seeking to distance herself from her comedian persona. She and West began their affair soon after they had met, and then established a sidewalk cafe, which was to be a retirement fund. Todd was well aware that Hollywood careers did not last at the time, and they still don't, but some of them still last to this day. So not as much back then, though. And she wanted to have another source of income. She worked harder to publicize her cafe, granting numerous interviews to the press, allowing the premises to be photographed, and talking about her recipes for the items served. The specialty was seafood with crab, lobster, shrimp, and oysters that featured prominently on the menu. A number of specialty drinks were named after were served with names like Todd Gin Sour and Thelma Todd Ricky. The restaurant was a success, and the Hollywood crowd flocked there. There you go, and there's some many suspects in that thing. West was a prime suspect. So he was the one who deliberately locked Todd out of their home because he was furious at her affairs and their heavy drinking. And he was also known to be a jealous, controlling man with a volcanic temper. There was a rumoured deathbed confession from him to his friend Chester Morris that he followed her to the garage and locked her in, unaware that she would turn on her car to keep warm. And then another suspect was her ex-husband, see? He was known as a mob enforcer with connections he introduced to his then wife. He would later become Gloria Vanderbilt's first husband and beat her up as well. Oh, charming. And then Todd met Lucky Luciano, a mobster with a prostitution, drugs, and gambling operation in LA through Pat. She embarked on an affair with him, which also became violent. He supplied her with amphetamines to keep her weight down. A battle she fought constantly, and it was made worse by Al Roach, who threatened to fire her if she gained any more than 5 pounds. And she refused to let Luciano use her restaurant as an illegal casino. Oh, look. Carmen was another suspect, of course. That West was cheating on her with Todd with Vanna. Yeah. According to a LA Times article in 2002, West continued running the business after her death, but his popularity waned. He finally divorced Carmen in 1928 and married a senior called Lola Lane, who inherited the property on West's death. Lane, though, was a devout Catholic and invited a priest called Father Bud Kaiser to run his religious entertainment production company. However, these premises eventually deeded the building to his Parlis Productions. Then the property was put on the market for $8 million in 2014. It was bought by a property developer in 2015. Todd's body was cremated and her ashes rest in her mother's casket in Bellevue Cemetery in her hometown of Lawrence, Massachusetts. So, yeah. Was it foul play? What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments or in the chat if you're joining just now. That is crazy, though. You know? Absolutely nuts. You know? Like nuts that stuff, you know. But again, like I was saying in a few other casts, like can't remember which one it was. I can't remember how I said it. Like as a thing. But back in these days, like the 2030s, when you had connections with like the mob, you basically could make anyone not disappear. They had the right connections, you know. And that's crazy. So that's Thelma Todd, who died at the tender age of 29. I think she would have gone on for about another 10 years, I think, in Hollywood. Don't know what, I don't, like I said, I saw showed you a picture of the cafe that she, that they own, but you know, as she, did she bite off more than she could chew? No, that's how, I thought it could change a thing. No, did she bite off more than she could chew, or was there someone who wanted her out of the way? So, who do you think done her? Let me know in the comments, or if you've got anything else you're interested in this, let me know. Like I'm saying there's two which interest me. It's her ex-husband, Pat, and then this lucky guy who she met through him. Because look, she said the story goes that he went on to berate her until she finally yelled him out at dinner at the Brown Derby over my dead body, to which he said to have replied, "That can be arranged." It's also possible they could have paid off the cop to do a superficial investigation and look the other way after he murdered Todd, as a lot of cops were on his payroll or on the payroll of the mob, which is true. So, Those two, like, those two are the ones that are sticking out to me. But let me know what you guys think in the comments. I'd be interested to know what you think. Was it the ex-husband, or was it this lucky guy who she met through him? Right, that's interesting that they made Gloria Vanderbilt, and it was like, and he beat her up as well. If you don't know Gloria Vanderbilt, there she is. She passed away a few years ago now, but there you go. Look, 4 years she was with him, and 10 years that guy. Look, that's Gloria. You know, that is nuts, though. So now we're going from the 30s of Hollywood and that to the 50s now. We're going forward 20 years to when Superman was a TV series again on the airwaves over in America. And a certain George Reeves hit the news. A year after his Adventures of Superman show ended, he was found dead. There you go. Police ruled George Reeves' death in June of 1959 as suicide, but a series of suspicious events surrounding the incident led some people to point the finger at the actor's fiancée, or even the mafia again. So yeah, mob again, mob related. Here we go. On June 16th, 1959, I wasn't even thought of it back in then, yeah. But yeah, day after my birthday. Actress Phyllis Coates woke up at around R4 in the morning, or 4:30 a.m., to a very strange phone call. The person at the other end of the line was a woman named Toni Mannix. She sounded very disturbed and was hyperventilating as she asked, "The boy is dead. He's been murdered." This kind of phone call would not have been out of the ordinary for Lois Lane, the character that Colt was portraying on TV. But not even Lane could have imagined that Mannix was referring to the death of George Reeves, the original Superman. The 45-year-old actor had been known across the nation as Superman for 8 whole years. But while some may have considered the hero to be a dream role, rumors of a curse began with Reeves' own career. Dissatisfied with the one-dimensional character and his low salary, Reeves had grown tired of the job. He was struggling with relationships in his personal life. Because of this, though, it was widely assumed at the time that the former Superman had died by side. But some people speculated that he had been murdered. And there's some of him. Look. And some stuff about him. Look. There you go. He appeared in the opening scene of Gone with the Wind with that famous one movie. There he is. This marked a turning point in his career, and he soon began to appear in a number of B-list movies while working to establish a name for himself. Then the attack on Pearl Harbor happened. The US entered World War II, and Reeves landed a starring role in the war film So Proudly We Hail. The following year, he was drafted into the US Army Air Forces, where he joined the theatrical unit. Theatrical unit, I should say. He played a role in the Army's Broadway show Winged Victory. before going on to appear in training films. Unfortunately, he was discharged at the end of the war. Unfortunately, when he was discharged at the end of the war, he struggled to reach the same heights he had been on the precipice of his propulsion before he was drafted, and he grew desperate. So yeah, before the war, he was like wanted. Come out from there, and no one wants you. There's new big things that have happened, or there's actors that have come in and when you went away and they blossomed basically, and they're the new ones, you know. But then Reeves returned from the war unarmed, dedicating himself more than ever before making it as an actor. So he was more dedicated than ever before to making it as an actor. However, Hollywood was struggling to recover with this new post-war era, obviously, and Reeves and many actors struggled along with it. Then Reeves was offered the role of Superman, but he was hesitant. Today, landing the role might be the peak of an actor's career, obviously because of the money involved in the actor and like the character. I'm not even look at Henry Cavill and all them actors who have been and Man of Steel, Christopher Reeve as well, in the early years, you know. So there you go. By the early 50s, superheroes weren't held in the same regard, and neither was TV or television. Much Much of Hollywood's money, fame, and glory was reserved for actors on the silver screen. There he is. And there's the original Lois Lane. Reeves, though, had no doubt that the show would be popular, but the series was mainly meant to appeal to the children at the time, which obviously you could understand because that's what Adam West's Batman, I believe, was also aimed for in a little bit, you know. He worried that he wouldn't be taken seriously as an actor if he played the role, but he took it anyway. Why? I was hungry, he said in a June 1958 article. No, I put interview published in the Tampa Times, so I think that's the Florida paper, innit? And then here you go. Unfortunately, though, Reeves was correct in assuming that people wouldn't regard him as a serious actor, and he struggled to find work outside of the adventures of Superman. To make matters worse, he wasn't exactly being paid paid well at the time. In fact, Reeves attempted to leave the show just after its second season, which netted him a raise, but it still wasn't enough to make a comfortable living. Plus, the amount of time he had to dedicate to the series made it hard to showcase his talents anywhere else. Yeah, because it's not like today where you could just basically go. I'm just going to go point out as an example, but look at some of these movies now. You're on set for like nearly a year, or three, so like say 6 to 12 months. Then you get a break before you can go out and film again, or do some, and there's offers left, right, and centre. But then there's nothing, and you got to work all the year round. There's George Reeves. No, George Reeves was the first victim of the alleged curse. That affected later portrayals of the hero, like Christopher Reeve, who was paralysed when he fell from a horse. See Christopher Reeve, look. In 1953, though, he did manage to land another role in a film called From Here to Eternity, but only for the test audiences to laugh and yell, "There's Superman," when Reeves' character appeared. Reeves was eventually freed from his role as Superman in 1958 when, after 6 seasons, that show was cancelled. But by then, the damage to his career was done, and matters in his personal life seemed to be taking a toll on him. And now he's a mystery behind his untimely passing. Reeves had, for the better part of 3 years, been engaged in an affair with actress Toni Mannix, the wife of the MGM general manager Eddie Mannix, who was also purported to have connections to the mob. In a strange twist, though, on the classic tale of a jilted lover, which is crazy. This is crazy, but yeah. Eddie had no issues with his wife's relationship with Reeves. After all, he was having plenty of affairs himself. as you would in Hollywood. Reeves, though, however, had become infatuated with another woman, Leonora Lemon, and he put an end to his relationship with Tony, breaking her heart. So, you don't know who Tony Mannix is, people. We're going to have a look at her now. This was Tony Mannix. There you go. Look. And then he became infatuated with her. So yeah. But Reeves' relationship with Lemon was anything but perfect. They had plans to get married after just 6 months of dating, as you would back in them days. But Lemon found herself disappointed that TV Superman wasn't the wealthy Hollywood star she had expected him to be. The two drank a lot and bickered even more. George Reeves and Richard Keefe on the set of I Love Lucy. No. On the night of his death, the actor and Lemon had gone out for a drink. They returned home at around 11 p.m. and Reeves went to bed shortly after. However, Lemon continued the party with the writer, Robert Condon, who had been staying with them, and two other friends. At 1 a.m., Reeves stormed downstairs to yell at the guests for being too loud. So as he returned to his room, Lemon bizarrely began providing some morbid commentary. He's going upstairs to shoot himself, she explained to her friends, according to the Daily Beast. They then heard a sound from the bedroom. See, he's opening the drawer to get the gun. Lemon claimed, finally, a single shot rang out. I told you he shot himself. Like, what the hell? That's crazy. And nobody called the police for 45 minutes. As you would back in them days, you'd probably wait because you're going to enjoy yourself at the party too much. And when they did arrive on the scene, Lemon told them she had only been she had been only kidding when she made her strange remarks. Yeah, but that's a strange thing to joke about, love. Yeah, and it was very precise. Almost like you knew. Anyways, investigators found George Reeves upstairs on the bed with a Luger on the floor and a bullet hole in his head. The police ruled it a suicide, but by the time his obituary was published in the LA Times, the newspaper was already noting there's an element of mystery to his demise. Reeves' mother refused to believe her son had killed himself and hired famous Hollywood lawyer at the time, Jerry Geisler, to investigate further. Geisler called for a second autopsy. The police had never checked Reeves' fingers for residue to see if he had pulled the trigger himself, nor did they count the number of bullets remaining in the gun, which you think they should have done at the time. There was also bruises on his head and body. However, these injuries were never investigated, and Geisler strangely stepped down from the case early on. That's funny. So she paid for this famous lawyer to take over and his mum, and then the lawyer pulls out. Weird. Guys had been paid an FT sum, so why did he suddenly drop the case? Yeah, that's what I was going to say. If it probably was on a FT whack. No offense, no. With the whack thing, but yeah. Perhaps he came a little too close to the truth. In reality, though, George's life was a far cry from that of his heroic television counterpart. Although the power of the large Hollywood studios was waning by the 50s, it's possible Eddie still wielded enough influence to order the death of George at his wife's behest. Or perhaps Tony took matters into her own hands and simply had her husband cover it up. After all, it was she who had made the early morning phone call to Colt before anyone outside of Reeves' home could have known about his death. Regardless, though, regardless of the plausibility of these theories, it's likely that the identity of whoever fired the bullet that killed this man of steel will remain a mystery. Yeah. So let me know who you think done this one, because this is a crazy one. You know, absolutely nuts. You know, I know. That's it. Yeah, but it's absolutely nuts. You know. So yeah, let me know in the comments what you guys think. Like the video if you enjoyed it. Subscribe if you haven't already. I'd appreciate it if you became a part of this community going forward. I'm aiming for 100 subs by the end of the year, and I appreciate all of you that have subscribed to me already. Um, yeah. So let me know, like I said, in the comments, what you guys think and girls about what these are mysteries. Um, and I will be back again later. So take care, everyone. Love and respect to you all. And make sure you also go and like and follow me on TikTok and Facebook at Paranormal Reports. Take care, everyone, and like I said, don't forget to let me know in the comments what you think happened here. Take care, everyone.